The finals are all tied up at 1-1 after the Warriors' big win last night. One of the crucial moments of the game happened early in the fourth when Klay Thompson fell awkwardly after shooting a jumper. He had to leave the game with tightness to his hammy and did not return. The other big moment happened in the closing seconds. The Raptors choosing not to foul, leaving Andre Iguodala wide open for that game-clinching three. We are joined by Bucher Report senior reporter and writer Rick Bucher. Rick, my friend.
Here we go.
Yeah, give us some insight here. What was the biggest takeaway for you from last night's matchup?
Well, number one, the biggest takeaway is the high-risk game of chicken that the Warriors are playing with the health of their players. You play DeMarcus Cousins 28 minutes. You play Andre Iguodala with issues with his leg 28 minutes. Couldn't get Klay Thompson out of the game quickly, and now talk about possibly playing Kevin Durant. They are pushing all of their chips to the middle of the table and saying, we're just going to try to we're not going to worry about tomorrow. We're going to try to find a way to get this done now. And we'll see ultimately how that plays out as far as all that is concerned.
And by the way, quick update from you on what you're hearing about KD's return, if any.
I have heard two different. One, I can tell you this: there are people around him, because as I told you guys last week, there was concern about the severity of the injury. I thought I see it. I have a hard time seeing him playing in this series. I went back to those people when Chris Haynes had his report, and they said, "We don't think you should play."
Wow.
It's if he played. Now, they're also saying, "Look, KD's a gamer. He's one of those guys," and we've seen Terrell Owens. We've seen plenty of guys play with injuries that, health-wise, you should not play with because of the moment. No doubt KD's being swept up in that. But the idea that he should be playing, if indeed he does, is a very big gamble with him on the precipice of entering free agency.
And knowing Klay Thompson the way you've known him for a long time, how much shot do you give him of being 80% ready to play in Game 3?
He'll find a way. They'd have to strap him down on the training table for him not to play.
Can you magically heal a hamstring if it's truly cold?
Yeah, the question is because he continued to play afterward.
He did, which is a good sign, right? He did sort of drag it around for about a couple of minutes, maybe?
Now, had the ice on it, was hobbling afterward, how much of that was just a tightness fatigue thing, and how much was it that he tore something? We'll find out.
I thought the biggest takeaway was the Warriors coming up when they absolutely had to have it. You look at Draymond. Draymond was magnificent. Klay Thompson, I felt Klay was really the biggest reason, because when the game could have gotten out of hand in the first quarter, it was him that kept them attached. Because Steph did not play particularly well. There was a stretch. So you basically look at about 10 minutes of that ball game, from about 4 minutes in the second quarter till about 6 minutes in the third quarter, Steph Curry was Steph Curry. But he didn't score in the second. Skip, he only scored 7 points in the second half. He had 16 at the half, and he got those in like a 4 minute chunk.
Yeah.
So he didn't play like the Steph we know he can play. Boogie was unbelievable. 11, 10, and 6, because he gives them the dimension that Bogut and Kevon Looney can only dream of. Not only can he score buckets without you throwing him lobs, he can go get buckets. He can put the ball on the floor, drop step, and he's at the basket. Those other two guys can't do that. And plus, he can pass better out of the post than those other big guys. Now, the big guys set better screens. They're better rim protectors than he is. But Steve Kerr's like, rim protectors is one thing, but I need guys that's going to help me put the ball in the bucket. And, man, Iggy. When we look at it, we say, well, Iggy had 5 points before he made that last jumper. Let that sink in. Iggy played 28 minutes. He had 5 points. And the only thing that matters is the last thing that happened. He made that shot.
The big mistake was by the Raptors.
They should have just,
in that instance, absolutely.
Just foul.
And the Warriors, Andre Iguodala taking that shot is a mistake. You open the door for the possibility, because if he misses it, now the Raptors are getting it with enough time to come back down, tie it up, send it to overtime. All the options are available.
Agreed.
The smartest play would have been for Andre to hold it, for them to hold it. And as Nick Nurse referenced, throw it up there with a couple seconds left. If it doesn't go in, by the time it comes down,
as long as you just hit the rim, you're good.
Yeah.
It's over. Okay? Which is why he told his guys, foul anyone except Steph.
Yeah.
And why Danny Green just watched Draymond dribbling the ball up high, I don't know. He
That's
just
your guy.
made a
Remember-
shot. I
remember-
love Danny Green.
You remember he cherry-picked in Game 6?
That's why he's no longer a Spur.
Yes.
He cherry-picked on LeBron. He was supposed to box him out, and LeBron got a second try at a three. It wasn't the last one, but it was another one that he made.
Yep.
And Pop looks back and says, if LeBron hadn't made that three, then we're not even having any conversation because it wouldn't have come down to the last shot, right?
Yep.
So Danny Green had made a huge three, and I think his head was still up in the clouds somewhere, and he wasn't really thinking about, I should go foul him because that's what Coach told us we should go foul Draymond.
Right.
71% foul shooter. Would he make both of them? Maybe, maybe not.
I'm going to find out.
I'm going to find out. I would too.
My other takeaway is the Warriors can't stop the Raptors. They cannot shut them down. We saw them shut down the Portland Trail Blazers. We saw them suffocate them. The Raptors, yes, they shot 27% from three-point range, some 37, 38% overall. They had open shots. The mistake that they made was ultimately they were missing shots, and they allowed that to affect how they got back on defense. And now the Warriors are getting in transition. The Raptors have a decisive advantage athletically in this series. Make or miss, Nick said if we're making shots, it doesn't happen. It shouldn't matter.
Right.
The Warriors should not be beating them in transition. They allowed, I think, the whistle, because they got a tough whistle in the first half, took away their aggression.
Look here, I already knew when I was like, oh, Scott Foster, Ed Malloy, Tony Brother. I said, oh, man, that's in a heap of trouble. Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought I tried trends.
Which meant you were in a heap.
Yeah, I was in a heap. I was in a heap.
That's what you're saying. I'm in a heap of trouble.
And also, during that run, if you think about it, okay, shots are not going in. Does anybody want to put the ball on the floor and get to the basket?
Yeah.
Maybe get a foul? Does anybody want to do that?
Well, but they did at the end when they missed 3 or 4 threes.
Yeah.
But then they did it individually.
Right.
Each guy took it upon himself. Drive and kick, drive and kick. Eventually, something's going to open up, but they all tried to do it on their own. And this is where the Warriors' experience and the double teaming of Steph. Like, this is what makes Steph unique as a superstar, is that you can take him out of a game.
Yeah, he's 6'2".
Physically, you can limit what he does, and he has to trust his teammates.
Right.
And
he's
this
willing to
case,
do that.
And he is. He is. That's where the whole idea that he doesn't want KD there, it's not the way he's built.
Right. Now, for my biggest takeaway, the Golden State Warriors survived and won that game last night while going from the 5:39 mark of the fourth quarter down to the 7-second mark without scoring a single point, not a free throw or a field goal or certainly a three. I'm going to ask the question here. Should Toronto's number 2 get a pass for that run right there? Because everybody's giving him a pass except me, and for the last 8 minutes of the game, he was pretty awful.
Yeah, they went on a 10-0 run.
Okay, they 10-3 down through the end of the game. But number 2 is the guy. He's the takeover guy, or so I'm told. He's the guy who has elevated Toronto into a finals, a credible finals member where they now belong in the finals.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's your team and your new town and your building now, you have to take that over. You can't go for the last 8 minutes and miss all 3 of your threes. You can't go for the last minute and a half and miss both of your twos. You can't get lucky on the 2 plays that you got fouled on and make 3 points and 3 points on what I thought were highly questionable foul calls. And that's all you got are those 6 points. And you did make your free throws. I give you credit for that. And then finally, the play of the game for me is last possession. They trap Steph. He dribbles out of it, but he's losing his balance. And he just lollipops up an off-balance pass toward Sean Livingston, that number 2. If he's that defensive claw that you tell me he is, he has to just intercept it and go dunk it.
If he had his explosion in his legs like I normally...
But I'm told he's hurt.
Rick, go ahead and talk to
He's not playing with the same movement or agility. No, I agree with that 100%. That said...
I disagree with that 1,000, 1,000,000%. I know him.
We kind of knew you were going to disagree.
And by the way, I got to say this again. My quarterback, Dak Prescott, he's got 2 bad knees, so next year...
No,
I give him excuses. He'll never be right next year. and I got to fall back.
But he has a Zeke Elliott who led the league in rushing, and he has a defense. Kawhi doesn't have that luxury.
But I'm not giving him. I'm not giving Kawhi a pass.
You just got to make
He's
some
your go-to
shots.
guy at the end.
Hey,
you need a bucket. He's got to get it.
You got to make a play or a basket.
Yep, agreed.
Because if you make one big play or basket, we're having a different conversation. If they're up 2-0, now it brings Durant into play, and we're having a whole different
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So speaking of Kawhi, Skip, could he actually stay in Toronto?
That's a good question.
It's a great question, and we want to get some more pearls of wisdom from Rick Bucher.
023.
We'll have more on that.